Very good evening, one and all present here. I welcome Dr. Vidya Hari Iyer ma'am. She is an amazing and most energetic speaker of our webinar series, and she has done two previous sessions, which is really nice. I can say that the feedback I have received from other members is an excellent one. I welcome today's speaker on behalf of the Department of American College, Madurai, and all the associating associations and institutions like Tamil Nadu Career Counselors Association, Tamil Nadu Counselors and Psychotherapist Association, Red Pond Education and Psychological Research Center, and Yellow Pond Counseling Center. I welcome today's speaker as well as all the participants for our 430th webinar session. And I would like to speak about few things about the resource person. And I have gone through the profile. It's not very simple to talk in a few minutes. It takes nearly 30 minutes. We have to have a dedicated session for that to introduce the speaker alone. I will tell you some of the highlights about, and for her credit, she is having many academic programs. And I can see that there are many people, they can stop with that 1 degree, and she has done more than 8 to 9 degrees for her credit, academic credits. And second one is the number of awards received for her contribution in the field is an amazing. There are many awards as she received, and she is a member of many associations, and she was the leader and president of some of the associations during her tenure, and she has done marvelous work. And recently, she took an initiative to promote a well-being component. And there is a dedicated group in which all the members who got on training and interesting motivational programs are going on. And she's a specialist in dental, motivational component, and counselors and psychotherapists. A multifaceted, talented here. We are happy to listen from you, ma'am. Over to you. And you can add a few more things if I miss anything. Over to you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Suresh Kumar, sir. And it's indeed a privilege to be a part of this series. What gave me so much of, kickstart, I should say, is the kind of response I got from all the delegates who have been part of the series. And I can only thank God because, in today's testing times, when all of us are looking out for some kind of a motivation or some kind of hold to go on to the next day of our life, I guess these series on a daily basis infuses so much of positivity and hope in people. So with those few words, I would like to go today to today's session. I'll start sharing. Just let me know if my screen is visible. Is my screen visible, sir? Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, friends. So good evening to one and all present here, and welcome to another amazing episode, topic 430. So that goes to say that this has been going for more than a year, and I would like to thank the Department of Psychology, the American College Madurai, Tamil Nadu, India, the Mental Health Webinar Series 2020-2021, and definitely the Tamil Nadu Career Counselors Association, the Tamil Nadu Counselor and Psychotherapist Association, Madras School of Social Work, and the Red Pond Educational and Psychological Research Center, along with Yellow Pond Counseling Center. The patron, Dr. Dharman Christopher, and all those beautiful delegates who have assembled today. My topic for the day is stepping out of our comfort zone. And I'm sure all of us have a kind of a comfort zone. And we all understand that, whatever we want in life is never in that frame of the comfort zone. It's always on the other side. And we need to hone ourselves. We need to make ourselves into a better version of ourselves in order to go and move on to the other side. So let's see what is it that we need to do and what is it that is just stopping us right now, right? So okay, today's session is going to be different, my dear friends. I'm sure a few of you would have attended the other two sessions of mine. But today, before even I start, I want all of you to have a pen and a paper next to you, because there's a lot of homework and a lot of worksheet and a lot of things to ponder today. Generally, I do these workshops when I work along with a set of students, so that it helps them overcome whatever their fears is there, and then how can they become a better version of themselves. Nevertheless, sometimes it becomes very difficult for us to help them until and unless they want to help themselves. I'm sure you must have heard about that saying which says God helps those who help themselves, right? So very true to that belief. Today's workshop is going to be something like that. So if you really want to step out of your comfort zone, then go grab a paper and a pen, and if you have a notepad, it's going to be even more better, because today we're going to talk about a lot of things where if you take your step forward today, it's going to be an amazing life or future from here on. So I assume all of you have a paper and a pen in front of you, and I'm going to pose a little bit of questions, and let's see how things work out, right? So sometimes it's hard to open your hand, but you need to. So looking at this man, one side he has a lot of his baggage, his possessions of life, and he's holding to this, a sapling kind of projection from the loft of the hill. And that is going to snap away any moment. And along with that, whatever he has gained in his life is also going to go down the drain. And you can see a helping hand there. So there is a mentor who's ready to help you. Now, you have only two hands, right? And one hand is holding that sack. Are you ready to let go of that sack so that you can hold on to your mentor? So you can, he can help you get out and come out of your comfort zone. Otherwise, the only option is still the sapling holds on, you're going to hold on, and then you're going to go down with all that. So these are the few questions I definitely want you to write and probably answer. Okay, so let's see what we need to answer right now. Do you want to change? Do you really want to come out of your comfort zone and change? That's the first question you need to ask, because this entire presentation is only for those people who want to change. It is not for the others who are just coming here to just listen to a talk today. If you think that you've not attained your fullest potential and you think you want to really go out, then this is a question which you need to really think and answer. Do you want to change? The next question: what is holding you from moving forward? What is it that is preventing you from moving front? What is it that it is weighing you out? And why is it making your forward movement harder? Think and then answer. Why do you think it is important for your growth? Another very important question. Why do you think you want to change? And why do you think that that change is very important for your growth? Growth as a human being, growth in your field, growth in anything that you want it to be. How long do you want to take to make a start? Because today's presentation will get over in a 1.5 hours time, but that's not the point. When do you want to start to make the change? Otherwise, like many other seminars which you have undergone or heard or been a part of, even today's seminar or today's web series is just going to do the same to you. You will listen, probably take a few points, and then that's it. But today's presentation is not that. It's going to be the change, right? And what are the changes you wish to see in yourself 5 years down the lane? I'm sure you've heard about the 5-year plans which the government does, right? But what are your 5-year plans? Today we are in 2021. So like I ended 2 days before that topic, I asked you what you want to be when you're in 2026 and in 2031. So let's think about how you want to be 5 years down the lane. I hope you've written down all these questions. Think over it and definitely answer. And I would be looking forward for that in the chat box, right? So a comfort zone is a very beautiful place, but nothing ever grows there. That's what John Ashraf said. Now, it's up to us to understand that the comfort zone is a very comfortable thing. The word comfort itself means that you are very happy there, right? So, your comfort zone is a psychological, emotional, and a behavioral construct. It's what that is very familiar to you and what makes you feel very safe. It's your regular habits, your routines. And when you are in your comfort zone, there is very less levels of stress or anxiety because that's where it is, right? You are very comfortable there. And in your comfort zone, there is little or no risk at all. So less tension, less stress, less anxiety, no risk, and you feel very safe, very comfortable, right? Why at all move? So when you look at people and when you start talking to people, not all of them are very positive about what they are in life. When you talk to them, they would say, this is not fine, that is not fine, and they keep cribbing and complaining. That means even though they are in their comfort zone, they're not very happy about it. They want a change. Then, what are the examples of the comfort zone that these people are in and they want to change about? One is sticking to a job you hate. You're not very passionate about it. You go to work because only if you work, you earn money. So, what drives a man to work? If you look at it, it is not his dream to work, but just the very fact that only if he works, he gets money and it puts food on the table. It's as simple as that. So you still stick on to a job which you don't like. You don't like the boss. You don't like the environment. You don't like your colleagues. You don't like the time. You don't get a good amount of offs when you want to take it. And you're not happy. You don't get an increment sometimes. And in these days, I'm sure there is a cut in your increment too. But then you still stick on to it. You're not very happy about it. Why? Because you don't know if you come out of that comfort zone, whether something nice is waiting for you. Not making an effort to exercise, that's another thing. Many times when you look at people, they say, oh, I wish I had a figure like that person. Or I wish I looked so good. Are you ready to do what they do to make themselves look good? That's a question. So many a times you feel that people are not taking that effort to do so. Sticking to your usual method of doing things. You know, you have a particular pattern of work and that's what you're comfortable about. You don't want to change. That's working well for you. You feel that's okay. Let's go ahead that way. Comfort zone in relationships. I think this is a very important topic itself. Today, you see a lot of people undergoing relationship challenges. And the main reason is that, they are like, used to that comfort zone. They don't want to do anything extra. And after some time, they don't feel the same kind of a zing thing which they had before in life. And now they feel they want to separate. They don't want to be with each other. It could be within friends. It could be within relatives. It could be within the husband and wife too. Sometimes you feel you have no talent and the other person is very talented, and that is why they have been able to make it big, whereas you lack it, and that is why you're not able to get those things what they have. And sometimes you want to do it, but you want a simplified pathway. You know, a very simplified thing that you can move faster or ahead. And sometimes you are aiming for smaller goals. The reason is, in case you fail, I just aim this much, right? That's all. You don't want to aim really high. What if you don't make it? People will make fun of you. People will not be there to support you. And you also identify the source of your comfort zone, and then you are, you're sort of happy. You don't want to move away. So staying in the comfort zone always allows you to draw on experience you've gained from your past performances. And you've already, you know it well. There's no way you can make a mistake. You've done it so often. You have had a track record of doing it well, and you're happy with that. So that's your comfort zone. While new experiences can cause a pause or trepidation, keeping in one's comfort zone, which inspires confidence and limits anxiety. So if you look at life, your life is waiting for you a little away from your comfort zone. So that is how it is. The hardest thing to do is leaving your comfort zone, but you have to let go of the life you're familiar with and take the risk to live the life you dream about. So it is about something which you're comfortable with versus it is something which you really wish you had. I'm sure many of you would have used this word, I wish. But wishing really doesn't make anything. You'll have to work towards your wish to make it come true, right? So if it doesn't challenge you, it doesn't change you. You need something to propel you to become better. If you don't follow that, then there is not going to be any change. And if there is no change, there's no challenge. And when there's no challenge, you're going to be where you are already. So let's look at this picture. I'm sure you know the story of a butterfly, how from a larva goes into a cocoon and then slowly comes out and then becomes the butterfly. So let me tell you a story here. So once upon a time, there was a beautiful garden and a lovely gardener who used to tend to its plants. A young boy used to come every day to the garden and be amazed by the flowers and the butterflies. So one day he goes next to the gardener and says, "Grandpa, I see you tending to all the flowers and all the plants every single day. But I want you to tell me the story of the butterfly." So this gardener gently takes him to a place where he can see the cocoon. And he's seeing a struggling butterfly just trying to come out, pop his head up, finding it so difficult to come out of that cocoon. Anyway, the small boy watches that. And the next day he comes back again and still watches that. And he goes to the grandpa and says, "It has just moved so little. It's not moved enough. Can't we make it easier for the butterfly to come out?" And the grandpa says, "No, dear. It has to change. It has to transform. It has to wriggle its way through that small opening. By doing so, there are a lot of enzymes and secretions which are secreted, which makes the wings of the butterfly so strong enough. So when it comes out, it is able to handle the air and fly better." However, this child was not convinced. So he comes back the next day again and sees the butterfly's only head come out. So he's saying to himself, how will the grandfather, the gardener, know if I just make a small slit and open so that the butterfly can come out faster? So there are two larvae or the cocoon next to each other. And next to one, he says, okay, let me just do it for one, not for both. So he slits, and now the butterfly pops its head out very comfortably. Slowly, within 2-3 days, the butterfly is ready to fly, wriggles itself out, and the other butterfly is still taking time. Over the end of the week, this butterfly is ready to go and flaps its wings, and thud, it falls on the floor. The boy feels very sad, goes to the butterfly, picks it up gently and goes to the gardener. And he confesses and says, "Oh, Grandpa, I did something wrong. I slit the cocoon thinking that I'm helping the butterfly." So many a times in life, as parents or as caregivers, elders want you to evolve, want you to change, want you to transform. So they allow you to do mistakes, they allow you to fall down so that, they are there to lift you up. But sometimes when we want the easy way out, we become like that small boy, impatient, right? And we want faster results. So let's learn from the story of butterfly, where slowly but steadily, definitely, you're going to make a change and you're going to come out with stronger wings so that you can fly high. As Eleanor Roosevelt said, do one thing every day that scares you. I should confess here, I don't do a thing every day, but I at least try to do one new thing every year. I started it that way maybe around 10-12 years back. And just before the lockdown, till then, I did that for sure. I learned a new trade every single year. I got myself enrolled in some new workshop every single year. And I tried to see another version of myself. Of course, even through this lockdown, I did something. But when I compare it to the time pre and post, I feel the pre-lockdown, I did much more because I was, able to go out and do much more. Within my limitations right now, I think I've done good for myself. Nevertheless, it's up to us, for all of us, to do one thing at least every year that you have never, ever done before. I don't know how many of you have tried paragliding or river rafting or, whatever, motorboat, skiing. These are things which probably in South India we can't even imagine, right? But whenever you go for your holidays, trekking, mountain climbing, anything, any small thing which you have never done before, try to get that and make it as a part of your every, a year at least goal. Every time I go on a trip, I try to do some adventure sports, which I've never done before. And I can tell you that I have been doing now for almost 20 plus years now. And the thrill which it gives you, or the kind of excitement which it draws onto you, is so beautiful. So let's understand what is a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. So this is my firm belief that each one of us, each one of you who's sitting in this seminar, have so much of hidden potential in you. It's just that few of us tap it and maximize the potential, and many of us just let it be. But if you belong to the growth mindset, I'm sure from this day at least, you would want to change. So the comfort crutch locks out engaged participation, the active ingredient in gratification, and locks in the biggest impediment to an extraordinary life, which is fear. And we are in this world to venture, to challenge ourselves and grow. That is how we are built. That is in our body biochemistry. And the comfort is allergic to the forward progress your brain neurons crave for. So left to your brain, it wants to grow. It wants to do something which is never done before. But it's we who decide, and we curtail this progress of ourselves. Looking again at another diagram of the fixed mindset versus the growth mindset, you can see the growth mindset is very dynamic, whereas the fixed mindset is very static. And because it is static, you become boring after a certain period of time. Imagine even a small conversation, you want to talk to people. And that's it. After 2 or 3 minutes of the conversation, you feel there is nothing more to connect with this person. Their thoughts are limited, their topics are limited, and their opinions are so high that whatever you say, they will have an answer to it. And the answer would definitely be a negative answer. Oh, that really does not work. It may be working for you, but not for me. And things like that. So in the growth mindset, there is a lot of place for nourishment, a lot of place where you can really grow. And that is the very essence of you living your life. So let's look at this study by Carol Dweck, where he spoke about the difference between the fixed mindset, which has the intelligence which is static, and the growth mindset, where the intelligence can be developed. So he looked into 5 important things. First are the challenges. So in a fixed mindset, you want to avoid challenge. If there's anything challenging, you want to just move away from that. Whereas a growth mindset says, let me embrace the challenge. Let me take it and work that out. If there is a 90-day challenge, they are the ones to jump. If there is a breakfast challenge, they want to jump. If there's a challenge to anything, they want to do that. Next, obstacles. The fixed mindset people, as soon as they see an obstacle, they want to give up. And they give up very easily. They say, oh, this does not work. Whereas for a growth mindset, they look at that as just a setback. It's just a roadblock. It's just like a small hump or a speed breaker on your path of, whatever you want to go, or your dream path. So it's just a speed breaker. So that's how it is. Now, imagine you have a sick parent and you want to rush them to the hospital. Would any roadblocks or any speed breakers or any obstacles stop you? Because your goal is focused. You want to reach the hospital. Why? Because there's an emotional content to it. It's your parent. So similarly, until and unless we fix an emotional quotient to this obstacle, we will always give up easily. Next is the effort which we need to put. Now, many a times when we put an effort and we don't get the desired kind of a reaction or a response, we feel all our efforts went in vain. We feel very futile and we feel like, things are not going to go the way we wanted. Whereas in the growth mindset, whenever you put an effort, you always think, okay, this did not work, but then it worked out for somebody else. So let's figure it out how to do it. And I'm sure when you have children at home, maybe someone who is less than 3 years of age, you will agree to this example of mine. So imagine there is a 2 or a 3-year-old child who has just learned walking and, is walking or running freely, and he wants to cross you and you go and stand like a wall there. So first time, the child will try walking towards the right side and you're moving towards the right side now. And then the child says, okay, let me go to the left, and you move to the left. And now the child is not knowing whether to move left or right, and you're just standing there, and the child tries to figure it out and tries to move from the center. Again, not able to move. The child will fall down, cry. And at that time, if your concentration is distracted, it will move between your legs. Have you felt that? We were that same child once upon a time, my dear friends. But the only thing is, at that time, we were not ready to give up. We were ready to put in our effort n number of times. Remember the child who learned how to walk. It fell down, it got hurt, it cried, but the next day it was ready to try again. However, we as adults, one small challenge comes in front, we are ready to give up. Next is criticism. So a fixed mindset will be waiting for somebody to criticize, will use that as an excuse and say a negative feedback. Oh, this, this is not good or something like that. I'm sure all of you heard about that story of the fox and the grapes when we were all small, right? The fox tried to jump and take the grapes and it was not possible. It tried 2-3 times and then it just said that the grapes are sour and I don't want it. So that's how most of us become. Whereas if you're in the growth mindset, you learn from your criticism. So when people are critical about what you are doing, they analyze it and they try to hone it. And so they become better at it and they become a better version at it. And last, success of others. So when you see the success of others, mostly you feel like, oh, they can do it, or they had the talent, or, you say their father helped them do, they had a godfather, they are rich. You start finding excuses to say that they could do it and you can't do it. Whereas success of others in a growth mindset is, if they can do it, then there's a way of doing it. Let me figure it out and let me do it myself. So that is a sense of free will. And that is the most important thing that all of us need to develop. As Brian Tracy said, the comfort zone is the great enemy of courage and confidence. I'm sure most of you have seen this image, and this is something which you're all familiar with. So the comfort zone is obviously a zone where you feel safe and you're in control, nothing challenges you. And then you move into a fear zone. That is where you lack self-confidence. You find excuses and you're affected by others' opinions. The next zone is a learning zone. Okay, you stumble up a little more courage and then you want to get into a learning mode. You deal with the challenges and the problems. You acquire new skills. You extend your comfort zone. And now you move to your growth zone. You find your purpose of life. You live your dream life. You set newer goals and you conquer all the objectives which you've written. So I gave you this in the beginning of the session today. What is your objectives? And if you really write that down, in no time you will be moving from the comfort zone. You will get a giant leap into the growth zone. A little more about the comfort, the learning, and the panic zone. So the comfort zone is a safe place where you want to reflect, whereas the learning zone is where you would learn, grow. And the panic zone is where everything is beyond you. Everything becomes very difficult for you. Okay? So in the comfort zone, as I told you, we are anxiety free. In the stretch zone or in the learning zone, you try to stretch yourself. You try to take a little bit of risk. You're learning, you're challenging, and there are certain new or different experiences which you want to enjoy. And then there is this panic zone where you're overwhelmed, you are anxiety prone, and your performance decreases because you're very stressed. You're very fearful of what's happening. And this is what is described as Yerkes and Dodson's law, where he tried to understand a little bit about anxiety and performance. So when the anxiety is less and the performance is low, there is a lot of boredom. There is nothing interesting happening in your life. And you become one among the crowd, right? But when you want to increase your performance, you're a little bit more focused. And when there is a correct dose of performance and anxiety, your adrenaline is good, you have the optimal level. But then when you go into a panic mode, your performance decreases, and your anxiety levels are very high. So here you have a basic understanding of the different zones. So when you are in your comfort zone, there are two aspects to it. One is the zone of despair, where you're keeping on cribbing and complaining. Or if you choose to change, there is a world of potential waiting for you and you go into a happy place. So if you are in this comfort zone for too long, you go into a danger zone. Now, let's look at, as I told you in the beginning, I wish. That is a fantasy land. It's a delusion bubble. Now, only when you put in your actions to this will you make things happen. So, the potential which is lying within you actually comes into place when you start overcoming and coming out of this comfort zone, and you're able to get a kind of a fulfillment in your life and move towards a larger, a bigger version of yourself. Another story now, a story of the nail and the dog. So there was an old man who was sitting on a fence, and he had his pet dog next to him. And a friend came by and asked this old man, "How are you doing?" The old man said, "I'm doing good." At that time, he heard a kind of a whine from the dog, a sound that it was not very happy. So the friend asked the old man, "Why is it that the dog is whining?" For that, the old man said, "Oh, that's an old story." He says, "No, I want to know about it." He says, "Okay." The dog is sitting on a nail. The neighbor now says, "Why is he sitting on the nail? He has so many places to sit. There's so much of space here. Why doesn't he just get up and move?" The old man says, "Oh, it's not hurting him enough for him to even make that effort to get up and move." Many a times our lives are like that. We are the dog. We whine. We just don't want to get up and make an effort to move because there is so many more places and more greener pastures waiting for us, which we don't want to explore at all. As Roy Bennett said, it's only after you have stepped out of your comfort zone that you begin to change, grow, and transform. So let's see why we need to step out of our comfort zone. That why is the most important thing. Because if you know the why, the how doesn't matter. And today I'm going to tell you a few whys and lots of hows so that you, when you finish this session today, have a fulfillment that in case you want to really grow, you have an opportunity in front of you. So getting out of the comfort zone from time to time creates good enough stress. And this is a good stress to ramp upon your focus. It makes you more creative, gives you a pace in life, a drive, and helps you respond to any other life's stressful condition also when unexpected things happen. So the most important thing is you need to take the first step. Imagine the story of a fan. Remember the hand fan? So there was somebody who was using the hand fan and who felt that was not enough. There was so much of effort in moving this hand fan, and that's how the evolution of fan came about. And from the evolution of the fan, today we have the luxury of using the air conditioners, because now not only we get air, we also get cool air. And that was all because somebody stepped out of their comfort zone. Do you agree with me? So you can never change your life until you step out of your comfort zone. Change begins at the end of your comfort zone. And we have to be honest about what we want and take risks rather than lie to ourselves and make excuses to stay in our comfort zone. So only because somebody was so unhappy with the fan that an air conditioner was discovered, right, or invented. So, as Stephen Morris says, here's the inventor's toolkit: imagination, hard work, experimentation, stick-with-itness, honed skills, craftsmanship, confidence, generosity, and salesmanship. Does it all sound very familiar to you all? Think about another evolution, an evolution of the wheel or the tires, evolution of something today which is, I don't know if I could call it the bane or the boon. It's the telephones in your hands, the cell phone, and evolution of the television. Imagine our life without all these three. If somebody had not been so uncomfortable with what they had and they had not invented this, we would have never, ever been able to enjoy the luxuries which we have taken it for granted today. So, I'm sure you can all read stories of inventors and their inventions and understand how their brain worked. It used to give me a lot of, goosebumps when I used to read about their stories, because so much they were thinking about when we all, just took it for granted, right? And these are very well-known inventors, I'm sure, without which today's life would be a standstill for most of us. Can you imagine without WWW today? The World Wide Web, without the iPhone, without the fluorescent lighting, without the telephone, or anything for that matter. So important in our everyday life. Imagine this sportsman who was deaf, but who has 2 new deaf world records. So what is it? The comfort zones vary from person to person, and it's a state of mind where a person's anxiety and vulnerability are minimized to manageable levels. It is that area of your life in which you feel familiar with and you are in control of. Many a times when you have heard or seen sportsmen who break records, even it could be a national record or an international record or their personal best. I'm not sure if you know that story. They all have a small slip or a chit with the track record or the world record exactly in micromilliseconds that they want to break it. And they keep reading about it, they keep visualizing it, they keep verbalizing it, they keep telling it as many times, and they keep reliving it, they vitalize it till they make it happen. And that is how new world records are made. So you need to first visualize it, verbalize it, and then vitalize it. Those are the 3 V's you need to understand. To get more out of all this, you can read autobiographies. I'm not sure how many of you love reading, but these are some of the amazing autobiographies. I'm sure there are many more. Abdul Kalam ji is somebody who's very close to my heart, and his autobiography on Wings of Fire is something which can be inspirational for many. Yuvraj Singh, another sportsman, how he overcame his health challenge, and the Bandit Queen of India, to understand what made her the fearless person she became and what she underwent. The more we learn, the more we read, the more we are becoming sensitive to how they have allowed that change to happen and how they moved out of that comfort zone of theirs to come to what they became. And today, she is from a peasant to an international legend. That's how Phulan Devi is called. So let's understand our brain better. Some more workshop work for all of you. So our brain gives a lot of ideas. The only thing which we need to understand is how do we work around these ideas, right? So, to just help us understand, I'm sure you have heard about Archimedes' principle, the Eureka, right? He was having bath and suddenly he jumped out of his bathtub and ran onto the road. Why do you think people did so crazy things? It's because when they are going on thinking about it from their subconscious mind, a lot of ideas come up. And that helps them propel towards their dream life. So friends, this is what I would want you all to do. Buy a book today, name it your idea book, and keep writing whatever ideas you have that you want to make it happen. I have a book and I have more than 100 plus ideas already, right? And I know even if I think about materializing or manifesting each of these ideas, it's going to take me another 100 more months. And that's a sizable number of 10 years, right? Then have a bucket list, things that you would want to do in your life, want to do in 2020, and every year from now onwards, have a bucket list. Write down your dreams and your purpose of life, and these have to be written vividly. Don't say, I want to buy a car. The universe does not understand that. Say what type of car you want, what is the color, what is the brand, what is the make. Have you sat in the car? Have you gone for a test drive? How did you feel? And when you dream and when you write your dream that way, the next time you go out on the road, all you would see is that car, the same brand, the same color. And now you've started manifesting it. And that is how powerful your brain could be. Then also have a gratitude book, because I'm always, what do I say? I live my life in gratitude. The more I'm grateful for whatever I have in life, the more God gives me opportunities to be grateful for. So when you are having a gratitude book or a gratitude jar or a blessing jar, and keep writing one thing every day that you're grateful for, you will never take life for granted. And you will be very happy about the journey you've had so far. I know there are miles to go, but you will never take so far of your journey also lightly. It would define your purpose of life. And when you do this, you will fail, my dear friends. And why? Because you need to fail your way to success. It's failure, 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 and only then success. So what does not define that failure? That you took one more effort to get up, you learned from your failure, and you gathered experience and you moved towards the next step, which was at a higher level of failure than what you failed before. But also remember that it is one step closer to success. So stepping out of your comfort zone means you're moving into an uncharted territory. You don't know what you're looking for. And you're trying things that you've never tried before and learning things you've never learned before. Imagine the first time you took your cycle and you learned to ride it. You fell down. You hurt your knee. So you did not know the art of balancing. That's it. Slowly, you learned the art of balancing. And then you were ready to go. All of us have gone through that. None of us are an exception to this. So you're only failing your way to success. And failure is definitely your stepping stone to success, but don't sit on it for long. Don't sit on that failure stone for long. That will stop you and stop you from moving forward. Now I'm going to tell you a story But this story is very close to my heart. It's a story of a hero mother. I'm sure many of you must have heard this story too. So here is a hero mother who's trying to teach her child. And that's the story of Thomas Alva Edison and his mother. So one day, Thomas, a young boy, goes to school, and as always, he's very naughty in school. And his teachers are fed up because his grades are not improving, and he's only having fun, not concentrating on what the teachers are saying. So they write a long note and send it to him and say, you can give it to your mother, and from tomorrow you don't have to come to school again. So this young child does not know that he's been terminated from school. He thinks it's a holiday. So he goes back home very happily and gives this letter to his mother. And the mother is holding her son. And as she reads the letter, there are drops of tears which fall on her cheeks. She hides her tears, and her child is asking her, Mama, what is written in that letter? Are my teachers very happy with me because they said from tomorrow I don't have to come to school? In all his innocence. So the mother said, no, my child, they said you're so intelligent, so brilliant, that they don't have the talent to teach you. So from tomorrow, Mama is going to teach you. She folded this letter very carefully and kept it in her chest of drawers. Years flew by, and Thomas Alva Edison became the inventor of all generations. In his years of 84, when he was really old and his mother passed away, as he was cleaning up this chest of drawers, he came about a folded paper. He opened that letter only to realize that that was the letter he received from school. And as he read that letter, tears rolled down his eyes. And he said, my mother is a hero because she believed in me when nobody else believed that I could be of some worth. I'm sure many a times when people belittle us, we don't feel our self-worth. Our self-esteem gets crushed down and we just want to go back to our comfort zone. We just don't want to move. But until unless you gather yourself and you're able to move from this level and, break through the challenges or challenge the challenges and move from that comfort zone where you will understand what you are made up of. So stepping out of your comfort zone, it means doing things that you don't feel comfortable with doing. You're getting outside of your comfort levels. I encourage you to push yourself in unfamiliar places, to do things that you wouldn't normally do. And that's very important. That's why I said, learn some trait every single year that you push yourself. Researcher Brent Brown says that uncertain social, political, or economic conditions can effectively make our comfort zone smaller. So when somebody challenges you, you go back into your cocoon. You make your comfort zone even more smaller. And then as the comfort zone becomes smaller, the more afraid you are. And it becomes more difficult for you to break off from this comfort zone. So she gave around 10 guideposts for a wholehearted living. Let's go through that. So when other people are letting go, what should you do? You cultivate authenticity. When others are letting go of your perfectionism, you cultivate self-compassion. I always believe that you don't have to be perfect. You'll have to start, right? And we are not here for anything else. As I told you, we just want to become excellent than what we were yesterday. If we were good yesterday, let's become better today. Letting go of numbing and powerlessness. When people say you can't do it, cultivate your resilient spirit within. Letting go of scarcity and fear of the dark, fear of the unknown, fear what lies in front of you. You cultivate gratitude and joy. Letting go of the need and certainty. You cultivate intuition and trust faith. Letting go of comparison. You create and cultivate creativity. Letting go of exhaustion as a status symbol and productivity as a self-worth. Many a times you feel, oh, because you belong to a certain status, you're not supposed to laugh or something like that, right? Or you're not supposed to do things like that. Doesn't really work. Cultivate play and rest. Enjoy your life. Be childlike. You don't have to be childish, right? Letting go of anxiety as a lifestyle. Cultivating calm and stillness. Letting go of self-doubt and supposed to. Cultivating meaningful work. And letting go of cool and always in control. Cultivating laughter, song, and dance. Here are a few phobias, and I'm sure most of us have all these kind of phobias, right? Either we have it or we had it. And generally, women are associated with fear of a lizard or spider or cockroaches and things like that. And many of us are afraid to situations like being claustrophobic or, aerophobia. Some people even have phobia of climbing the elevator. And some have medical phobia, wherein it is, at least with dentists, I know there is something called dentophobia, where, they hate dentists, right? And some people have fear of blood too. And other natural environment like hydrophobia. People don't like to go to water. They hate water sports. They don't, they just like to wet their feet in the ocean and come out and things like that. Some have even fear of sleep. And I put this in importance because today a lot of people, as I do counseling, talk about insomnia. So what causes insomnia? It's crossing time zones when you are traveling, you're jet lagged. Sometimes too much of this cell phone blue light causes that. Stresses, alcohol, smoking or caffeine, heavy food in the night, taking medications, some environmental factors, and some uncontrollable things which are beyond your control. Nevertheless, somniphobia, as it is called, is an extreme fear. People are scared when they are alone, and even the moment they close their eyes, they get into an anxiety or a panic thing, and they want to keep it open. They switch on the light and sleep sometimes, and they are always like irritated, or that sleep anxiety is always there. Another phobia is allodoxaphobia, which is a fear of opinions. Your fear of getting out of your comfort zone because everybody, you don't know what they would say. This generally happens when you're trying a new dress on yourself. Probably you're a person who's always worn saris and you want to, wear probably jeans. I'm just saying an example. And, you might have people opinionated that they would say, oh, that's so fat and, it does not suit you. You look very good in traditional clothes and things like that. They're giving their opinions. But always understand there is a difference between a fact and an opinion. Opinions are like armpits. Everybody has two and all of them stink, right? So looking for the fact. Fact is where you need to really look in and move forward. So as Steve Jobs said, don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your inner voice. So always listen to that inner voice of yours, because that is the one which is going to propel you to move forward. And how do you come out of your fears? You have to get exposed. So one thing is to avoid the things that make you fear. But the other thing is facing your fears head on. or that's called the exposure or art of confrontation. So exposure involves gradually and repeatedly going into those feared situations until you feel less anxious. Many a times when you think about the elevator, elderly people say, no, I will take the lift. Or, they are not comfortable. So you just hold their hand and say, see, I'm going in, just hold them, take them in, and then they are comfortable till you take them out. So only that getting in and getting out is the fear. Sometimes exposure is not dangerous and will not make the fear worse, but you need to have it done guidedly. And after a while, your anxiety will naturally lessen. So all these fears of getting out of your comfort zone will always die out. And for that, you have multiple books on art of confrontation. You have Mastering Confrontation, The Art of Constructive Confrontation, where you can go and read through. One of my favorite books on the art of confrontation is by Terry Felber. Am I making myself clear? And when you confront, it is always better you're face to face and you're looking into the eyes of the person. So I use this very many times in my dental field too. I practice sitting dentistry, which means I sit on a chair and I make my patient sit on their dental chair. And I always talk to the patient at the eye level. That's very important. If my patient is standing, I would stand. When my patient sits down on the chair, I would sit down. This can be called as mirroring too, and it's very important. So whenever you talk to a child or a person who is, shorter than you, try to see that your eye levels match. That's very important. So when you talk to a child, go down, bend down and talk to the child. They will not have the fear of confronting to you. Many a times when children do mischief or have broken something, they're very scared to confront it to their parents. The reason is they know they're going to get scolded. Anyway, the parents will find out and they will scream, scold, and make the situation out. But then to win the trust of the child becomes a problem. So the art of confrontation always helps the child come and tell the parent, I have done something wrong. This happens many a times, especially during any physical abuse, especially done either in school or, it could happen to boys or girls when they have to confront it to their parents. So until unless that trust is there between the parents and the child, or between the caregiver and the child, they will never want to confront. They will just want to keep it to themselves. But you cannot change what you refuse to confront, my dear friends. So if you want to change, if you want to move out of your comfort zone, you will have to confront and you will have to detox it from your body. Only then you can start living again. Another exercise right now is write down your thoughts and beliefs which are weighing you down. Very important. Because if something is weighing you down, you need to sit and write it down. Because these are the things which are preventing your growth from you getting out of your comfort zone. I have just enumerated it 5. You can write as many as you want. Write these questions because I'm not sure whether you'll have time to answer them right away. But when you write it down and when you think about it and when you want to confront, you can get professional help. So let go of all the thoughts, the things and people who are weighing you down and soar to new heights because you're born to win, right? So let's do a short exercise now, my dear friends. I want all of you to sit very comfortably. And if you have any pen or paper in your hands, I want you to keep them on a desk. And I want you to, after this slide, we will be doing exercise. So I'm going to do something called card cutting. And a card cutting is where somebody or some situation which is holding or having a cord between you and that situation on an emotional level, which is preventing your growth, you can cut or sever those cords. You can strengthen yourself and build in your positive and your healthy emotions and move forward. So I'm going to help you get out of your comfort zone. So here is a statement which says one person's energetic shift has the power to create a ripple effect around the world, as put forth by Gabby Bernstein. So let's, do this small exercise. So I want you to all close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. And take a deep breath out. So take a deep breath in again. And then relax. Another deep breath in. And relax. I'm sure as I was going on with your presentation today, you had many people in mind who have said not so good things or nasty things to you, which has developed a kind of a fear within your inner self, a fear that you're not good enough to move forward. So bring all those people in front of you. Bring all those situations in front of you. Bring all those words in front of you that is now weighing you down. Look into each person's face, particularly their eyes, and tell them up front that this is what you did and I was not comfortable with. Speak head on. Confront. Confront the situation. It's not the person you're blaming, but the way they handled the situation. Because you want to be a part of the solution. You can choose if you want to spend the rest of your life with that person, or you want to break free. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Imagine your hand to be a scissors. After you've confronted and you've chosen that you don't want them in your life again, they hurt you very badly, and you choose to move on. You choose to get out of this zone you are in. You want to break free. Cut the cord. And release them away from you. Confront each of these people, each of the situations, each of those words which has stopped you from growing, which has stopped you from evolving, which has stopped you from transforming. Cut all those words away from you. They don't define you. Those situations don't define you. Those people don't define you. You are what you are. Sever all the ties with those people who did not add value to your life, who made you feel very small. And sever the ties with the scissors in your hands, cutting all the cords. Throw all the cords away from you. You don't need them in your life anymore. You want to grow. You want to go out of your comfort zone. You want to become the best version of yourself and live your life on your terms. You're born to win. Cutting all those cords has made you feel very light. You feel very light. You're able to breathe better. Your stress levels have become less. Your shoulders are relaxed. You're feeling very happy within your body. You feel you're about to fly. Gently rub your hands till you feel the heat. Cup your eyes. And slowly open your eyes as soon as you're ready. So these card cutting exercises could be done periodically. Sometimes you will need somebody else to guide you, and that works better. And this will definitely go a long way when you are thinking about transforming to your higher version. So now let's find out how to step out of our comfort zone and move towards success. All this while I was talking about why you need to do it, but now I'm going to give you tips of how to do it. So first is pushing past your limits. For that, you need to believe in yourself, push your limits, and do whatever it takes to conquer your goals. As I told you to write in the beginning, you need to write where you want to be in the next 5 years. Only then you will be ready to push. Always push your limits because your body will adapt. You think your body will not, right? But when your brain has made a decision, your body will stick to the decision. This holds good even if you think about exercising. The moment you have decided to get out of bed and wear your shoes, your body is ready to go with you. Great things never come from comfort zone. That's what Ben Francia said. And he said, be brave, take risks. Nothing can substitute experience. So as you take risks, there'll be a lot of stories for you to weave, a lot of stories which you would want to share on your way, on your journey to success. And that's very important. Next, find someone to help push you. That is your mentor. A mentor is a very important person in your life, my dear friends. Let's understand who is a teacher, who is a coach, and who is a mentor. A teacher is a person who knows things and who talks about them. Not necessarily they do it or they follow it. A coach is somebody who knows it, who has done it before, but is not on the path right now. A mentor is a person who leads by example, who does it time and again, and is always on the forefront of leadership. But that is a mentor. So choose your mentors wisely, right? So to give you a better example, I could take the field of cricket. So imagine Virat Kohli. Who is Virat Kohli's mentor? I'm sure you all got the answer right. Sachin Tendulkar, right? Why? Because he's the greatest batsman in the world. But who's the coach? Ravi Shastri, right? Today, do you see Ravi Shastri playing? Not really. But he did. So he's a coach. And who's a teacher? A teacher must be the person who's teaching how to play cricket, who might have not even gone into the cricket field. So whom will Virat Kohli want to listen to? Definitely Sachin Tendulkar, right? So let's understand the art of mentoring. A mentor is a person who helps you fix a goal, who trains you, who keeps motivating you at every step, who gives you advice, who tells you that success is close by, he gives you a direction, coaches you and supports you on this journey. What are the positive efforts of pushing yourself? It's that always walk like you're wearing a crown, an invisible crown on your head, and walk with your head held high like a queen. And when you do so, imagine how you would feel. You would feel you have gained self-confidence, and you will have a sense of feeling self-efficient, associated with positive thoughts and aspirations, and there is very little stress and anxiety. As Edward Whittaker said, be willing to step outside your comfort zone, once in a while at least. Take the risks in life that seem worth taking. The ride might not be as predictable if you're just planted your feet and stayed put, but it will be a heck a lot of more interesting. So don't you want to come out of your comfort zone now? I'm sure you are saying yes. Take on a little more than you think you can. Now, when you want to be an extraordinary person, what should you do? A little extra. Correct? That's the only difference between an ordinary and an extraordinary person. So if you have to do something a little extra, then understand what that extra really means. If somebody is just going to work 10 hours a day and claim that he has done a great job, be ready to work 10 plus hours and work with passion and with a lot of happiness, that your work is no more a work. It's a joy for you. So extra credit is only given to the ones who work a little extra. And that is how you need to work. And do your work, not just your work and no more, but a little more for the lavishing sake, that little more which is worth all the rest. So that is why if you look at world economy, only about 1% to 3% of the world's richest people are there in this world, where the rest of the 95 to 97% are living a mediocre life. But if you look at the wealth, it follows the Pareto principle, the 80-20 rule. 80% of the wealth is with 20% of the people in this world. And why so? Because they have done something extra. Imagine reaching to your next level. As Maria said, successful people are always thinking about what they can do to move to the next level. Initiative is the drive to do it, to take the first step and then the next step. The great thing about initiative is that it's free and available to everybody. Each of us can take an initiative and do it. And every next level of your life will demand a different version of you. Remember that slide on failure? And I said, you gain experience. And what happens with that experience? You go to become the next better version of yourself. But is that enough for success? No. It will demand a different version of you. So that is how you transform and come out of your comfort zone. So another exercise. How do you want to be? If you're in your 20s right now, right from the 30s to the 90s. If you're in your 40s now, right from 50s onwards. Because ultimately it depends on you where you want to be in the next 10 years of your life. Right? And look at how others reached where you want to go. So this is a very important slide, and I love this. A boss is a person who definitely, gives instructions. They don't do the work, right? They just keep giving instructions and say, go, do this. They keep delegating. But where is progress? Progress is where the delegator also works along with the people who have been delegated. So a leader always is a person who treads the path first and paves the way for the others. A very good example is Gandhiji. Remember in his salt satyagraha, even in the movie Gandhiji, you can see Gandhiji walking, and on his path he meets so many people, but he's on a mission. He goes, acknowledges, but he's on his mission. He keeps walking. And what happens? Behind, when he sees what started as one people, now there is a huge fan following. No wonder he's called the father of the nation. Because he was a leader. A leader leads by example. I'm sure you must have heard about another story of Gandhiji, where an old woman comes to him saying that, her son eats a lot of sweets. And all she wants Gandhiji to say is that, give up eating sweets. And Gandhiji says, Amma, come after a month. And this old woman is really angry with Gandhiji because, she's thinking, just to say those words, don't eat sweets, why should I come 1 month later? And I'm talking about that time when there were no buses and cars and autos there. She had to walk all those miles to go back. Anyway, it was Gandhiji. So she said, okay, let me go back. And she comes a month later. And she brings the son. And now Gandhiji says, Beta, give up eating sweets. Now this old woman is really angry. She said, this is exactly what I wanted you to tell a month back. But why did it take you so long? You could have told me that day. It would have saved me this journey of coming and going again. Gandhiji said that, Amma, I am fond of sweets. If I have to say that to somebody, shouldn't I first give up? I needed time to change. And that is why we always say leaders lead by example. And that is why Gandhiji is a great leader. So that is how a leader leads. And leadership and learning are indispensable to each other. That's what John F. Kennedy said. And inspire yourself to action. That's very important. By just saying things don't work out, you need to act. They say knowledge is power. I beg to differ. Applied knowledge is power. You need to apply. Correct? And action is what you need to do. There is a beautiful story where there are 4 birds on the branch. And we play a game called Simon Says, right? Simon says fly. And against when you just say fly, right? So here the leader on the branch says, let's all try flying. So how many birds are there left on that branch? 4, because that's how it started. What happens? There is nothing called try. Do it and do it now. Take the action. Fly means you have to fly. Trying to fly really does not work out. So as Tony Robbins said, the path to success is to take a massive determined action. So do you want to know who you are? Don't ask. Act. Because action will delineate and define you. That's what Thomas Jefferson said. So what is the difference between people who speak and people who do? It is because they put it into action. Okay? Now I'm going to give you a secret shifter, because when you do all these, these tiny shaitans in your body and people outside will keep telling you so many things. And then you will get these answers like you cannot do it. I'm sure all of you have seen this beautiful movie called The Sound of Music. And all those who love to sing, I would have loved to sing with you all, but I don't know if I have time right now to sing with you. And I'm sure this clip would remind you of a song which says, these are a few of my favorite things. And she says, when the dog bites, when the bees sting, and when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad. So whenever we do certain things and when we are trying to shift from our comfort zone, there will be times when we will have our sad moments. But make a list of your secret shifters. Make a list of things which can shift your frequency of thoughts and make you feel happy. Change your focus and change your feelings in a snap. How do you do that? Make a card and write down some beautiful memories, future events, funny moments, nature, a person you love, and your favorite music. And keep that written. And whenever you're feeling sad, Just take up this paper, which is your secret shifter, and in a jiffy, just read that and you will not feel sad anymore. This is one of my favorite songs, and if time permits, we can sing someday. So don't allow where you're today stop you from becoming a better person tomorrow. And your better version of yourself is definitely in the books you read. It is not in the social media. It's not in alcohol. It's not in news. It's not in being judgmental about yourself. It is not in taking revenge. It's not in getting your sitting in front of your TV, but it is to read and transform yourself. So let's watch a beautiful movie. So I'm sure you want to bring the lion out of you, right? Many a times in Tamil movies, it says, don't bring out the lion in me out. But actually, on a lighter note, you have to bring the lion in you outside. And don't stop until exhaustion, because you've come so far. There is no choice of quitting right now, right? So don't stop when you're tired. Stop when you're done. That's what Merlin Monroe said. And work on your weaknesses. What do I mean by that? You build on your strength and you work on your weaknesses, because we know a chain is strong only till its weakest link. So if you want to snap, you would snap when you're the weakest. So you need to hone yourself so that you are the best version of yourself. And that in all MBA, that is business administration classes, you would have heard about the SWOT principles, SWOT, which stands for strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. This is another exercise which I would encourage all of you to write down. What are your strengths? Hone your strength. What are your weaknesses? Address them, confront them, and change them into your assets. Look out for the opportunities which are waiting for you, and address your threats and be watchful. There is also a saying which says, be mindful about as you take your steps upwards. Because if you're not good to people on the way, you'll have to step down and meet these same people when you're down. So you need to understand the threats. So the 10 things that will happen when you start stepping out of your comfort zone. First, you'll be in your comfort zone and you will step out. You'll start growing quickly. You'll begin to love challenging yourself. You'll realize all your fears are fictional. You'll replace regret with excitement. You'll laugh at your past self and say, was that me? You'll find out more about your strengths and weaknesses. You will boost about your self-confidence, and you'll create a new source of satisfaction. You'll realize the only way to success leads through discomfort, and you will begin inspiring people around you. So my take-home message is, make changes to your daily routine and your opportunities to change. Delegate work, find a mentor, learn something new, or at least one nice thing which you can do, or volunteer. Your physical change and mental change will go hand in hand. Face the fear, get out there, and you're on your path to success, and keep upping your game as you move. So push all your old habits and dump them into a dustbin and go for your new goals in life. And that is what is going to take you forward. Before I end this session, I want to share a small story. And many a times when I get, feedbacks like, I had a great session and things like that, I feel like telling you all that I was not a very good speaker or an orator or something like that. I was a very, very simple girl. I still am. And even in my class, I was not the most popular or the most brilliant or anything of that sort. But today, when I look at my life, I've absolutely walked out of my comfort zone every single time. So today, when Dr. Suresh introduced me, he said she's got so many, things to her credit. But I just want you to understand, my dear friends, that as I took dentistry, I failed many a times in not clearing my entrance exam for my master's. And being belonging to a forward community, I know these things are alien for people who have been just born who are less than 26 years of age. But we had all these in our times. Forward community, you would not get a seat, and that's how from becoming a gynecologist, I became a dentist. No regrets. I love my profession and I'm very good at it. And I was still not a person who would speak up in front of people. And today, I have not left one stone unturned. Whether it is the social media speaking or speaking over a Zoom or a Google Meet or a WebEx, or for that matter, speaking in front of any number of people up front. I have combated my fears. I have confronted it and I moved out of my comfort zone. So what you see right now is a different version of Vidya than what I was few years back. And today, I am a life and leadership coach and a behavioral analyst. Not just because, I moved out of the comfort zone, because I led by example. And a small note, I got a lot of messages already on my personal WhatsApp asking me why there were tears from this right eye of mine as I was giving this lecture. And all of us are human beings, right? So when I was telling the story of Thomas Alva Edison, that story is very close to my heart because many a times people very easily belittle us, and we find it very difficult to come out of that comfort zone. And not all of us are blessed enough to have a so-called a hero of a mother or hero person who are there to encourage, support, and give strength to us. So sometimes we stumble, we fall, but we dust and we rise again. And I wanted to end this lecture by saying that choose to rise one more time because your life is waiting for you at the end of your comfort zone. So thank you so much, Dr. Suresh, and thank you so much to all of you for being a patient audience. And yes, I'm now ready for your questions.
Thank you, Dr. Vidya, ma'am. So
Thank
nice,
you,
wonderful session. It was really amazing session. We learned a lot from you with a lot of practical examples, your own new versions and all. It really actually heart-touching session actually. So
Thank you
right
so
beginning
much,
you
sir.
said from lava to butterfly how it evolved, the evolution of rivers and evolution of butterfly, and really it is in our heart now. So I believe that all the participants really they keep in mind that they will evolve themselves. That is the very biggest things all are learned today, ma'am. So with this, I try to put in the question answer session. So participant, you can unmute yourself and you can ask the questions.
Yes, friends, any questions? We can really go through it. Somebody is asking to unmute. So, Chandni, is there an option that we
There is
can
a
unmute?
technical, yeah, I am trying to do it. So kindly wait for a minute. It's not happening.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Participant, in the meantime, you can put your questions in the chat box. There's a technical issue. We try to solve it, unmute all the participants. Kindly put it in the chat box, please, in the time being.
I guess they are also asking for the feedback form link. And thank you so much, friends. I'm seeing a lot of, feedback that it was a great session. Thank you so much. It just gives me a lot of happiness when I prepare my slides and put forth a program for all of you. And this is a third consecutive program for this mental health series. And I can only thank God and definitely thank Dr. Suresh for this amazing opportunity. And I guess, it's absolutely wonderful to have had an august audience in front of me and such lovely people, I guess we all learn from each other, we all grow from each other. So thank you so much. Any questions? Yes. If I had or have many good habits, why should I put it in the dustbin? No, I said if you want to get out of your comfort zone, then if you have certain beliefs or actions which is preventing you from moving forward, those are the things which you need to put it into the dustbin, not your good habits, please. No. I want to talk about Guru Samarpanam, which really showed your gratitude towards our teachers. Yeah, okay. Thing is, last year was my 25th year or Silver Jubilee celebrations of me being a dentist. And it also celebrated 2 decades of me being into practice. And it was 30 years of being a student of dentistry. So I felt these were milestones in my life, and I did not want to take it very lightly. So I had coined a term called Guru Samarpanam, and I had, done a program for all my teachers, and I was just fortunate that it was not over a Zoom call. It was, in reality. And I had called all my teachers from my school, that is my junior KG. And I had teachers from my junior KG to my HM, to my teachers in high school. And I studied in 2 schools or 3 schools, if I could say. I studied in Carmel High School, Calcutta. I studied in Abu Dhabi Indian School, Abu Dhabi, UAE, and I studied in Church Park, Chennai, Madras. So, so I had my teacher who flew from Dubai just for the program. And I had a lot of my teachers from my dental fraternity. And so I had really, coined a 4-hour program. And I had called the photographer, and we had a huge dinner arranged and all that. And the photographer at the end of the event, he came and said, "Ma'am, I have been clicking snaps for 3 decades. I have done all sorts of functions, but first time in my entire life, I have seen a student thank her teachers. And that too in such a big, huge scale." And this, I will definitely take it as a credit, because my chief guest was my guru. And when he came up on stage, he said, in Tamil, we say, Netru Indra Nalai, right? So we talk about 3 generations. So he is somewhere in the middle. So there is a generation before, and he and me on the next platform. So he said, we have not done it for our teachers. Nobody has done it for us. And you have done it. And in the history of dentistry, this will be the landmark event, the Guru Samarpanam, because from now onwards, whatever happens, this event would be, taken as that, a turning point in the life. So, honest to God, thank you, Chandni. I think I forgot about
Ma'am,
it. Yes,
ma'am,
Chandni.
I really want to talk about that event. You actually invited me, but I couldn't come because I was at Bangalore. But it was really inspiring that someone can show their gratitude like this. Like, I would have never imagined something like that. But it was a very innovative idea, and I actually liked it too. Yes, and one more thing I want to add is like about the 1 second, ma'am. Confrontation, ma'am. So coming to confrontation, there are a lot of kids who can't confront about like what they feel. So it's like what you said, like when we go to their eye level and when we talk about what they are going through, it will definitely help them to come out of whatever the fears they have. Because being a child, it will be like they can't go and talk to others. They don't know how to convey what they feel. So a way when we go to their level and when we talk to them, when we understand their level of understanding, it will really help them to come out of their fears. It was really nice, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you for this session, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Chandni. This is very important because it's not so prevalent in India, but in foreign countries, if you see a parent, a father or a mother hug their children, they would see the father or the mother, sit down and then hug the children. and they would always talk at the eye level. In India, even the teachers, they would always talk at a different level. So the moment you stand up and somebody is at a lower eye level than you, it gives them a feeling that, they are not as good as you, or can really, talk back in terms of words also. So that is why you see many a times children, once they become young adults, they try to back answer their parents or things like that. So confrontation will prevent that, because many a times you see parents, they will start hitting the child, or saying that, you listen to me and you better listen, and things like that. So this kinds of instills fear, or a seed of fear in the child's brain, and that is not something which should be appreciated. When you instill that fear, the trust goes away, and because the trust goes away, the child will not confront with you. And that is why, in fact, see, I do a lot of counseling, and I'm not supposed to speak about those counseling sessions, because we have a kind of confidentiality attached to it. But many a times when I speak to young girls or young boys, there was a boy who was manhandled by a family member, and obviously he didn't speak about it when he was a young child. And later in life, he got married, obviously, and he had issues at that time with his wife. And the wife is always confused, because other than the moment when they were together, the rest of the arenas, uh, he was such a wonderful person. He was so understanding. So she thought probably he needed time. But see, life goes on, right? And then when we did counseling sessions, we found out that he had a physical abuse. So generally we talk about women going through it, or young girls going through it, but boys also go through it. And after the session, I mean multiple sessions, then he became fine, and now they are happy. But to break him and help him confront, because it was a very close family member, and he had to open up, and to open up, you need to build the trust. And only when you open up and you confront and you let go of the past, that you will have options of looking at what you can do in the future. So getting out of the comfort zone might sound as simple as changing, like I gave you an example, from a sari to a jeans. That could be a comfort zone for a person who wants to break free on the exterior level. But on the more internal, emotional level, there are various factors which would curtail a person's growth. So, it's very difficult to generalize. I try to put forth as much as, to just give you a glimpse of it. And that is where your group therapies are helpful. They are only helpful to a certain level, like I did cord cutting and things like that. But the moment you really think about, getting into individualized counseling, that is when the real story comes out, and the real depth of information comes out. And I personally feel a counselor or psychotherapist has a lot. The horizon is so wide that if they really make up their mind, then sky is the limit as a person, as how much you can actually contribute to any person on this earth. And it will definitely have a ripple effect.
Yes, ma'am. I truly believe that by confrontation, we can definitely stop child abuse, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Obviously, obviously, definitely. Any other questions? I would be.
Can I?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'm Prakash.
Yes.
Thank you for the excellent, the session, ma'am. So informative,
so much.
and we learned a lot of concepts. And one thing that I want to mention is, as you said, the comfort zone is very difficult to for people to come out, and fear of failure probably is the one main reason why people hesitate to even try. So, and your story on the lion, it was really inspiring. I think that should help a lot of people to realize, even though not being the largest, tallest, and the fastest, yet it believes in itself that every other animal is a food. That's actually it takes. And the SWOT analysis, what you mentioned, is definitely even I feel that that's going to really help people. And along with that, probably even the Johari window, I feel that should really help. And there is one famous quote I would like to say here, is that I read it somewhere, that anything that you want to do well in life, it's worth doing wrong first time. So thank you very much for your inputs, man. Definitely it's going to help.
Thank you so much, Mr. Prakash. I guess this is a forum which I have felt, we have an open ground to learn and to evolve. And each of us are evolving on a daily basis. Nobody has reached the zenith. All of us are evolving. All of us are overcoming. And it is for us to get into the best version of ourselves that we need to make it as a continuous process. Otherwise, we would cease or we would decay. And that is very important. And as you rightly put, I was trying to remove, I had many videos. I removed a lot of them, but this video, I kept it. I said, this is going to be a part of today's presentation.
Yeah, thank you for that video.
Thank you, sir. Any other person?
I think no. So.
Oh, I think somebody is trying to unmute. I'm able to see, but is there anybody who's trying to unmute? Okay, no, fine. Then I think the host can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'm Dr. Subhashri over here, part of the core team of this mental health webinar series. And I'm really fortunate to listen to you today. You were bubbling with energy, and I really liked the way you presented the entire flow. It was really touching the heart, and I could see the inside out in your presentation. I mean to say that there's a lot of purpose in your every, the intention behind every slide you had. So that energy was translated to everybody. And I really thank, it's a formal vote of thanks from the Department of Psychology, the American College, Madurai, and as well as the mental health webinar series core team members who have been working for the past, you might be knowing it. They have been working, this is our 430th session. So it goes on and on with all experts and also the beautiful participants with all of us. And then the Tamil Nadu Counselors and Psychotherapists Association, as well as Tamil Nadu Career Counselors Association and Madras School of Social Work and MS Chellamuthu Rehabilitation Trust Madurai and Red Pond Academy of Research and Psychological Support Services from Madurai. And I thank from our lead Dr. Suresh and as well as from all of us, from the core team members and the beautiful participants we have been traveling with us and also very actively involving themselves and contributing for the entire show. I really thank wholeheartedly from my bottom of heart that the wonderful takeaway is the Guru Pranam, that the beautiful show you have conducted that gave me a seed that I should also do once. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Subhashri. And if you want to look into Guru Samarpanam, definitely follow me in Facebook or Insta, and then you'll be able to see the entire celebration was, we did montage videos and we put it on the screen there. So thank you so much for this opportunity, and thank you, friends. And I'm sure many of you asked me last time to let you know about my future sessions. I'm doing one on Monday at 4:30. That's not for the Yellow Pond Counseling Group, but it is for a group from Trivandrum. Nevertheless, I'll just use this forum to help you take down my number. So in case you want the link and you want the series information, you can get in touch with me. My number is 9840176088. I repeat, 9840176088. So thank you so much, Dr. Subhashri and the entire crew. I guess you made it so interesting for all of us to bring front various topics of, I guess, everyday importance. I would not say, clinical importance in terms of psychology, but I guess everyday importance, which can be applicable to any one of us who is attending the program. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Dr. Vidya ma'am, and thank you, Dr. Subhasri ma'am, and thank you all the participants. We will have yet another wonderful session tomorrow. Until then, bye-bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, Salim. Bye.